Now at 6, tonight we're raising awareness about the risks suicide poses to people of any age. According to the Ohio Department of Health, suicide is the second leading cause of death in our state among those ages 10 to 34 years old.
From 2020 to 2021, suicide deaths here in Ohio rose by 8%. Tonight, the state is trying to make suicide prevention easier to access. 2 years ago, the state launched 988, a suicide hotline, which allows people to call or text for help anytime, any day.
Well, just last month, Governor Mike DeWine, along with Ohio State, launched a $20 million study to try to identify the root causes of emotional distress, suicide, and drug overdoses in Ohio. 10 TV reporter Kevin Landers takes a closer look at suicide in our state from those who've experienced the tragedy and those who are trying to prevent it.
On a two-lane road, two angel wings stand in memory of Gabrielle Martin. Her mother, Vanessa Martin.
She was my best friend.
Her father, Jason.
She was a force of nature.
Gabrielle was 20 years old when she died by suicide. Stacy Hubbard lost her daughter, too.
She gave away all of her sunshine and didn't keep enough for herself. You know, that was the kind of person she was. So
Courtney was 17 when she died by suicide. Two families.
Were you blindsided by this?
Yeah.
Who raised happy children.
Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear?
Until mental illness stole their happiness.
she was very vocal to me that she did not want to harm herself.
We saw signs at 13 when she was 13, and then when she was 16 is when she had her first hospitalization.
Stacy Hubbard says the day her daughter took her life, she left for school with a smile on her face.
You know, I said, have a good day. You know, let me know if you need anything. I love you. She said, love you too, Mom. And off to school she went.
Two families who share the same pain are sharing their tragic stories.
She felt like the medication stunted her personality.
In hopes of breaking the stigma about mental health.
Address it from a young age before they show any symptoms.
They want parents to know the signs of a child struggling.
Through her junior year, I'd noticed she dropped out of jazz band. She had just dropped out of the musical prior to this. So I was kind of on alert.
Both families say they regularly met with doctors, were on top of their children's medication, and openly spoke about mental illness with their kids, telling them,
it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to have mental health issues.
Lifeline, how may I help you?
Ohio's 988 suicide crisis line is helping. It gives people resources to manage their mental health needs. Ohio's 988 suicide hotline looks like this. There are 19 call centers across the state, 400 full and part-time people working to answer the calls. In the beginning, there were a few thousand people who called. Today, 12,000 a month. Leanne Cronin leads the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services.
Right now, a little over a third of Ohioans are aware of the 988 crisis lifeline.
She says 988 works. What needs to change is for people to not feel ashamed to call.
It's not bad to ask for help. It's not something to be afraid of.
Mark Goodwin is the caring voice on the other end of the line.
It's a lot of isolation, loneliness, just, you know, they're feeling emotional about things. And they're struggling with how to deal with it. These people, they'll actually tell you by the end of the call, they feel a lot better.
But the phone line has no permanent funding for now. The state budget has funding for 2 years.
We are certainly continuing to have conversations with the General Assembly and in partnership with the governor's office to create a dedicated permanent funding stream for this.
But she was always into TV.
Meanwhile, families like the Martins
And these are her best friends.
and the Hubbards, whose children's memories now live on video
You will be found.
and voicemails,
I love you. I love you. Happy birthday.
are pushing for parents, siblings, and friends to understand the warning signs of mental illness. Gabrielle's youngest sister, Grace, is doing her part by becoming a mental health ambassador of sorts at her school.
But I think we need to do more to make it more like, hey, it's not weird if you're feeling this way at all. And like, there are people out there who are exactly like you.
Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
Remember, if you or anyone you know needs help or just to talk to someone, call or text 988. We have more mental health resources on our website at 10tv.com.